Good afternoon everybody and welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to be learning about panel stitching. So as you can see, I've just gone past the third pin here. I'm going to check that my machine is in panel mode. So the difference between circular or tube mode is that when you try to cast on and when you're going round, it will stop at the white pin. So as you can see, it stops there, and then when I go all the way around and get all the way back to that white pin, it will also stop as well. So this is just to prevent you going any further when you're in panel mode. So sometimes if you've accidentally got it set in panel mode, you will have already learnt this, but it's exactly the same way. So we're going to skip the first 3 pins, so the white and then 2 pins, and we're going to be casting on to that 4th pin there, exactly the same way we would cast on normally. So just locking that down and then alternating all the way to the end or as wide as the panel you want to knit. So if you only want a small panel, you'll only cast on as far as you want to knit. So I'm going to be going all the way around because I'm actually making a panel for a cardigan for myself. So I'm going to go all the way to the other end, just missing one and then under one, missing one, under one, all the way to the end as far as I want to go. And then I'm simply going to get to the end. I am cast on with waste yarn here, as you will see later in the video. So you can see the machine stops there. I don't quite want to go that far because I like to have just a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm going to put that through the holder and then drop that into the first tensioner as well. And then I'm going to begin to crank the handle the opposite way. One thing to be mindful is the stitch counter does not work in panel mode, so we'll show you a little handy tip a bit later on in the video. But I'm going to go all the way around and then I'm going to knit for 15 rows in my waste yarn. When I'm casting on, I take my time. Now I do have a little trick which I learned online as well. So when you get to the end of each of these panels, you want to make sure that that stitch has dropped right down onto the little fingers. So I will show you again in slow motion just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So when you get to the end, you just need to make sure that that stitch slides all the way down. So I'm going to zoom in there for you so you can see. And as you can see, it's just sat a little bit higher up on the hook. So it has dropped down, but it's not quite gone onto the fingers. So I'm going to go in there and just pop that over the 2 fingers. And this just ensures that you don't get any drop stitches or any crossovers. So now I'm going to go past that finger and then I'm going to wind it all the way back. Just really taking our time. Now, one other little trick that I do have as well is as you start to wind back, if you keep a little bit of tension on that yarn, it just ensures that it loops round comfortably. There we go, just going to pop that stitch down there. It loops around comfortably and it means that you don't have any loose stitches at the edge, which makes for really neat knitting. So there you go, I can see me holding the yarn, pulling it a little bit tighter, and creating a really nice tight stitch on the end there. So when you come to join these panels, if that's what you wish to do, it means you'll have a really nice neat edge to sew up. So again, just sliding that down there. So I am going to fast forward it now, guys. I'm going to go for 15 rows. Sorry, it will be 14 on this because it's a panel. So 14 rows, and then we're going to cast on in a different colour. Really wish it was this quick. So now I'm going to show you how to change your yarn over from your waste yarn to your main project yarn. So I'm going to leave a nice tail there and I'm going to cut that off. And I'm simply going to move that round so that it drops right in line with the stitch we've been on. Then I'm going to get the yarn that I'm using. So I'm using this Knitco yarn. It's absolutely gorgeous. I've just got it caught in the machine there, typical. So I'm going to leave myself a nice long tail and I'm going to put that through the yarn holder. And there we go, just popping it in there and then also in the tensioner as well. And then the first one I always find a little bit tricky, so I like to hold both of the tails. I don't really think it makes much difference, it just makes me feel better. So I hold both of the tails, as you can see me fiddling around trying to grab it there. And then I'm just going to keep a little bit of tension on those and pull that into place. And then I'm going to carry on as I was before. Now the project I'm doing, I've actually run out of the main yarn that I was using, so I'm bringing this black in to create a striped effect on one of the panels in a cardigan that I'm making. So you will see me changing the yarn quite a lot in these videos. So again, just making sure that that is looped down, keeping a bit of tension on the yarn and going back. It's really, really simple, guys. It's really, really easy to change over. So I'm just going to speed it up a little bit now. You've got the idea, obviously we've got the new yarn on. We're just going to continue to go back and forth, making sure those loops drop over that pin and keeping a bit of tension on at each end to make sure it keeps a nice clean stitch at the end. So as you can see from the last clip, I've now brought my iPad. So I have a row counter on my iPad. So every row I do, I simply mark. So as you can see, it gets a bit annoying because I do get adverts in this because I'm not paying for a premium version. But yeah, we just count as we go. And then this gives us an idea. So at the moment, I've worked out that if I do 30 rows of the black, I can then go for 30 rows of the other coloured yarn, which is also very beautiful. And then that at the end will give me the full length of the panel, which I need. It's 240 rows in total, so we're going to be here a while, guys. As you can see, speeded up version, I'm just going to keep going. I'm changing over onto my different yarn again, and it's exactly the same process with one minor difference, which I will slow down and I will show you how to make sure that that yarn stays secure when you're changing over on your main project. So in terms of measurements for this project, I have just measured exactly what I want for my own size. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit of a cropped cardigan. Whether it comes out like that, I don't know. I am still very new to this. So as you can see, I've just slowed the video down now. I have got a clearer one a bit later in the video, but this is how I make sure when I cross over onto a different yarn, how I secure it. So I just simply tie, quite tight, a little knot, and then I carry on. I'm going to zip along now, guys. So we're at 91 rows here. I've got to get to 240, as I said before. So there's going to be a lot of changing colours. Each 30 rows I do, I'm going to then change over onto a different colour. So bear with, sit tight, and I'll catch you at the end. So I'm at 120 rows over halfway, so I just wanted to show you what it's looking like now. So as you can see, I'm getting those really nice even stripes, which is great, and this row counter is a godsend. As I said before, the Sentro doesn't count your rows on the stitch counter, which is a bit frustrating, but obviously it's one of those things. You can get electronic ones. I personally don't feel I need one. I like to keep a manual eye on it because I know that each panel I do is going to be exactly the same length. So as I said before, the reason that I'm putting stripes in this panel is because I was playing a bit of yarn chicken. So I ran out of yarn, so I didn't end up unpicking a panel just to make this panel so it would work. This is one of my first biggish projects that I've done on the Sentro. I have done sort of things for my daughter, but sort of for myself, this is the biggest thing I've done so far. So I'm now going to cast off using my yellow yarn. You will note that I do not tie this into the project, and that is because at the end we're going to unpick it all. But same process, I actually do 16 rows on this just to make sure I've got plenty of playroom. So I'm going to do 16 rows of those, and then I'm going to pop a little picture at the end just so you can see what the project is looking like up to press. This is with the 2 sleeves that you will have already seen in previous videos. And obviously I've done a panel of it's actually called Creme Mocha, I believe, the yarn I'm using, the Knitco Creme, and then obviously the Knitco Black. So yeah, I'll pop a picture at the end, but let me know what you think, guys, and if you want to see me put it together, let me know. Just coming to the end of those 16 rows now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip my waste yarn. I do count these in my head. I don't feel like I need to use my stitch counter for that, and it's like a sanity check. I can look back and see I have done 240 rows. So I'm going to drop that tail into the middle, and then I'm going to simply wind all the way around in one direction, and then as I come back it will just drop those stitches off, as you can see there, just dropping them off. When I'm doing a project, I'm quite gentle, so I make sure that it just drops nicely into the middle without catching on anything, because I want that waste yarn to stay on. So I'm just going to slide that out from the side and let you see what it looks like. And there you have it, guys. So yeah, it looks absolutely fab. I will pop another video on, but thanks for watching.